Photos went viral of U.S. sailors eating near-empty food trays. The story spread fast, forcing a public Navy response. And buried inside that controversy was a question nobody was asking. How does the most advanced carrier ever built feed 5,000 people with just 2 kitchens, when the ship it replaced needed 5? Let me take you back to April 2026, because this story didn't start in a Pentagon briefing room. It started on social media, the way most things do now, with a photo. Someone posted images of food trays aboard U.S. Navy vessels, near empty plates, small portions, the kind of meal that looks like it belongs in a school cafeteria on a budget, not on a $13 billion warship carrying 5,000 sailors in an active deployment. The photos spread fast. Headlines followed. And suddenly, the question of how the Navy feeds its sailors wasn't an obscure logistics topic. It was a national conversation. Admiral Darrell Caudill, the Chief of Naval Operations, responded publicly. Ships in the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group had at least 10 days of food supplies aboard, with many holding 30 or more. The photos? Taken at an onshore dining facility, not aboard ship. The shortage claims were false. But here's what the controversy actually revealed. Not about food shortages, but about how little most people understand about what it takes to feed a floating city of 5,000 people 24 hours a day in the middle of the ocean. And why the Navy's newest carrier does it with exactly 2 kitchens instead of the 5 that every carrier before it used for 50 years. Think about the last time you cooked dinner for 10 people. The planning, the timing, the sheer number of things that had to happen simultaneously just to get food on the table at the right temperature. Now multiply that by 500 and do it 3 times a day, plus midnight rations, without stopping, ever. If you're finding this as fascinating as we do, hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps us keep making these for you. To understand why the Ford went to 2 kitchens, you first have to understand why the Nimitz needed 5. Because the Nimitz-class system wasn't designed the way it was out of laziness or tradition, it was designed that way for very specific reasons that made complete sense for 50 years. A Nimitz-class carrier has 5 separate galleys, each serving a different population. The enlisted mess feeds the bulk of the crew, roughly 3,200 sailors. The chief's mess serves senior enlisted leadership. The wardroom serves the ship's officers. The flag mess serves the admiral and staff. And when the air wing embarks, adding up to 2,500 more personnel, they get their own dedicated feeding operation. Each galley operates semi-independently, its own kitchen, its own storage, its own culinary staff, its own menu cycle. The logic was straightforward. Distribute the food service operation across the ship so that no single point of failure can knock out feeding for the entire crew. If one galley goes down for maintenance or takes damage, the other 4 keep running. The crew keeps eating. It's like having 5 separate fuse boxes in a large office building instead of one central panel. More redundancy, more complexity, more maintenance. But if one trips, the rest of the building stays on. For 50 years, across every Nimitz-class carrier, that decentralized system worked. Sailors knew which mess deck was theirs. Culinary specialists knew their galley. The system had rhythm, familiarity, and built-in resilience. And then, the Navy decided to throw all of it out. When the Navy designed the Gerald R. Ford, the most advanced carrier ever built, they made a decision that raised eyebrows across the fleet. They cut from 5 galleys to 2, and they gave the new system a name that tells you everything about the philosophy behind it. They called it the conglomerate galley. So what exactly is a conglomerate galley? And why did the Navy think 2 was better than 5? 6,000 people. That's how many are aboard a Nimitz when the air wing is embarked. You know what else has 6,000 people? A medium-sized high school district. And if you've ever tried to coordinate lunch for just one school, you already understand the logistics problem. Now multiply that by 5 separate kitchens, 5 separate staffs, 5 separate supply chains, all on the same ship. So here's what the Ford's designers asked. What if we just didn't do that? The Ford was built to run with 500 to 900 fewer people from day one. Not because the Navy got cheap, because automation made those bodies unnecessary. And when you drop 900 people from the head count, your entire kitchen operation stops making sense, which is exactly when someone finally asked the question that should have been asked decades earlier. So think about this like a restaurant with a second kitchen in the back that only opens on weekends. The Ford's conglomerate galley sits aft, one primary kitchen feeding enlisted sailors, chiefs, and officers from the same source. Same kitchen, one operation. The second galley sits forward and stays completely dark until the air wing shows up. And when they do, they bring several thousand extra mouths with them. Flip the switch, spin up the forward galley, handle the surge. Air wing leaves, lights off. Because why run 2 kitchens when you only need 1? Here's the pitch, and honestly, it's hard to argue with. 1 kitchen means 1 quality standard, fewer culinary specialists. It means consolidated refrigeration, better cold chain management, less spoilage, more efficient use of storage space. Think of it like the difference between a hotel with 5 separate restaurant kitchens on different floors, each one running its own menu, its own staff, its own inventory, versus 1 central kitchen that supplies the entire building. The central kitchen is more efficient, it's easier to manage, and the food is more consistent because it all comes from the same place. But here's the question that every sailor who served on a Nimitz immediately asks when they hear about the conglomerate galley. What happens when the 1 kitchen goes down? Let me give you a sense of the scale involved here. Because 2 kitchens feeding 5,000 people is a sentence that's easy to say and genuinely hard to visualize. The USS Abraham Lincoln, a Nimitz-class carrier, serves 17,300 meals every single day. That's not a typo. Breakfast starts at 3:30 in the morning. Lunch prep begins at 9. Dinner runs through the afternoon. And at midnight, the galley fires back up for mid-rats, midnight rations for the sailors coming off the night watch who missed dinner entirely. The menu repeats on a 21-day cycle, long enough that sailors don't feel like they're eating the same thing every day, short enough to manage inventory and resupply efficiently. Each meal is calibrated to 2,850 calories for men and 2,100 for women. Every week, resupply ships deliver up to 317,000 kilograms of food via underway replenishment. Pallets of provisions transferred at sea while both ships keep moving. That's roughly the weight of 50 fully loaded school buses, transferred between 2 moving ships every week, just to keep the kitchen stocked. So instead of 5 kitchens, the Ford runs 2, roughly 93 culinary specialists pulling 12 to 16-hour shifts running 1 tight, centralized operation. Think of it like a restaurant that just fired half its kitchen staff and consolidated everything into one line. Less duplication, less wasted effort. But here's the trade-off nobody advertises: less margin for error, too. Because when the conglomerate galley is the only galley running, it doesn't get to have a bad day. 6,000 people are counting on it. And here's the detail that makes the whole system click. The Ford's centralized galley was designed with modular refrigeration systems, better cold storage, better inventory management, better food safety controls than the distributed system on the Nimitz. The Navy didn't just consolidate the kitchens. They rebuilt the entire food service infrastructure around the assumption that 2 well-designed kitchens could outperform 5 older ones. Here's something the Navy has known since the first sailor ever ate a hot meal at sea. Food isn't just fuel, it's morale. And on a ship where 5,000 people live and work in close quarters for months at a time, morale isn't a soft metric, it's a readiness metric. The mess decks on a carrier aren't just where sailors eat. They're where they decompress, where they sit across from someone from a different division and have a conversation that has nothing to do with work. Where a hot meal at the end of a 16-hour shift is the one reliable thing in a day full of unpredictable variables. The Navy calls the mess decks the heart of the ship. That's not marketing language. That's institutional knowledge built over a century of operating warships. Which is exactly why the April 2026 food controversy hit the way it did. The photos weren't just about portion sizes. They were about the implicit promise the Navy makes to every sailor who deploys, that the basics will be covered, that you will be fed, that the institution you serve has thought about what you need to function. When that promise appears to be broken, even if the appearance is misleading, the reaction is immediate and visceral. Admiral Caudle's public denial was fast and direct for a reason. Food service isn't a peripheral concern on a carrier. It's central to everything. A hungry sailor is a distracted sailor. A distracted sailor on a flight deck moving at 30 knots, surrounded by jet exhaust and live ordnance, is a dangerous sailor. The line between food service and combat readiness is shorter than most people think. It's the same reason every serious employer, hospital, fire station, long-haul trucking company, thinks carefully about what their people eat on shift. You can have the best equipment in the world. If the people operating it are running on empty, the equipment doesn't matter. So does the Ford's 2-kitchen system actually deliver on that promise better than the Nimitz's 5? The Navy says yes. The conglomerate galley produces more consistent food with better quality control at lower manning cost. The sailors who've eaten from both will tell you the answer themselves. Those 2 kitchens feed the sailors who operate the deck they eat above. Watch the video on screen now about why carriers use exactly 8 to 10 degrees of angled deck, not 0, not 20. 5 kitchens for 50 years. 2 kitchens on the most advanced carrier ever built. The Navy didn't cut kitchens to save money. They rebuilt the entire food service system around a smaller crew, better technology, and a centralized operation that produces more consistent results with less redundancy. Whether that trade-off holds up on a long deployment, in a contested environment with 5,000 people depending on it, is a question the Ford class is still answering. What surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. We'd like to read them. And we'll see you in the next one.